Okay, so Albert Einstein once said that imagination is everything. It is the preview to life's coming attractions. Albert Einstein also said that imagination is more important than knowledge. And Muhammad Ali once said that the man who has no imagination has no wings. So the new year has rolled around and most of us have New Year's resolutions that we want to fulfill by the time 2024 comes to an end. But as you and I both know, most people fall off this sudden burst in energy by the time mid-February rolls around, simply because of the fact that we lose enthusiasm as the year progresses. But that's why in this video, we're going to be talking about 4 different techniques that you and I could use to remain enthusiastic throughout 2024 and the years that follow afterwards. Now, I should preface by saying that obviously physical fitness and surrounding yourself with the right people are definitely really important when it comes down to remaining enthusiastic. But in this video, we're going to be focusing specifically on visualization and imagination, because long-lasting enthusiasm is just a result of one's ability to consistently remain in a super inspired, super positive, super excited, super hopeful psychological space. And having a big, fiery imagination that we feed consistently through the right visualization techniques is definitely a key component to remaining enthusiastic. So without further ado, my name is Shaq. Nice to meet you, but let's get into it. Alright, so before we get into the 4 techniques, we have to ask ourselves one critical question, which is, what do you actually want? This is extremely important because if your heart doesn't truly desire the answers to this question, it'll be practically impossible to generate long-term enthusiasm and just that internal energy that we're looking for. Now, if you don't know the answers to this question, this might take some soul searching, but it's completely worth it, because once you find the right answers to this question, then only will visualization and imagination be truly effective. Once you have your answers to this question, let's see how we can integrate them into the following 4 techniques. The first technique is crafting stories. Writing stories that paint a picture of the moments and feelings you're going to experience as you manifest the answers to the question we just asked is one of the best ways to start building a bigger imagination. Because when you create compelling stories and scenarios that mean something to you and represent your future reality, this should give you that enthusiastic emotion that you're looking for. The key here is to focus on the details, because oftentimes it's the details within the bigger picture that give us the best emotions. Let's say you want to be a great philanthropist and you have a lot of work to do to put yourself in that position. What you can do is you can start to visualize the genuine happiness that you'll see on the faces of people in need as you actually go out there and make a difference in their life. You've actually changed their life in a positive way. How is it going to feel when they give you that genuine smile? When you see that joy in their eyes? How is it going to feel when they give you a warm hug? How is it going to feel when you walk around knowing that you're actually making a difference? How is that going to feel? If it means something to you, it'll move you. If it doesn't, it's all good. You have to visualize something else. But you see the point, right? So every time you start to feel a bit low, you can always go back to this scenario and you can spend a few minutes to visualize this feeling and just visualize that moment. Like I said, if it means something to you, it'll recharge your battery and it'll put you in that psychological space of enthusiasm that you're looking for. The second technique is to make vision boards. So vision boards are really great because they serve as a consistent reminder of everything we want and where we're going, and they also give us consistent exposure. Now, the reason why exposure is so important is because oftentimes if our minds don't see anything that intrigues it, it becomes very hard to imagine anything, right? So if you're in an uninspiring environment, then the likelihood is your imagination is not going to be firing. And if your imagination isn't firing, as we talked about, your enthusiasm for life is probably not firing either, right? But don't worry about it. That's why vision boards are really good, because it's a cheap form of exposure. Now, we can talk about how to make vision boards for 25 minutes, but the real premise is to put visuals on a board that allow you to think at a higher level, that expand the horizons of your imagination. So whatever it is, whether it's a Lamborghini or a school you want to go to or somewhere you want to work, or if you want a big family, or even a person that inspires you, a quote that inspires you, anything that allows you to build on your imagination, just put it on the board, okay? And the key here is to put this board in a place where you can look at it every single day, day after day after day. This is really important because as your mind looks at these visuals day after day, it becomes a lot easier for your mind to imagine scenarios of you actually living this life that you've created on the board. You can also create boards that represent a specific focus. For example, you could have one board specifically for travel. You could have one board, that gives you the feeling of gratitude. You could have one board that gives you the feeling of being competitive, one board for luxuries, whatever it is. Sometimes you can organize it like that. It might work better for you. But at the end of the day, whatever system or strategy works for you, just do that. And I promise you, your imagination will have a significant change in its ability to generate the images that create the enthusiasm that we're looking for. Now, one thing you could do as a step further is you could create smaller visuals of all these things that you want, and you could put it in places that you go to on a consistent basis. For example, you could put these visuals in your car. You could put these visuals on your desk at work. This allows you to consistently be inspired throughout the day. And as we know, as long as you can consistently inspire yourself, enthusiasm will definitely be working in your favor. The third technique is to consume the right content. So watching the right movies, documentaries, videos, or reading the right biographies and books can do wonders for your imagination. Because film is imagination presented in its most dramatic form, and stories in the written word have been used to stir up and enhance imaginations since the beginning of time. Now, obviously, the key here is to choose the right motion pictures and stories that allow you to build your imagination in a way that gives you the most enthusiasm. So, for example, if helping people is what inspires you and excites you the most, then watching something like Beast Philanthropy on YouTube will work for you. If traveling is what excites you the most, then watching travel documentaries will work for you. If thrill seeking is what excites you the most, then watching videos of people skydiving, bungee jumping, or wing flying will work for you, and so on. And making it a point to watch these movies, documentaries, and videos at least once a week, or listening to this biography that really inspires you throughout the entire week is something that'll definitely help you maintain enthusiasm, because doing this will keep you in an inspired psychological space on a consistent basis, which is obviously key to remaining enthusiastic. And finally, the fourth technique is get in-person experience. So this is probably the best thing that you can do for your imagination for two main reasons. Number one is that oftentimes when we get a taste of something we really want, we end up craving it even more. And number two, it is the highest form of exposure. And exposure is essential for imagination, as we spoke about earlier on in the video. So getting a tour of a $5 million house with your friend that's a real estate agent, or walking into a Lamborghini dealership, or doing what you can to put yourself in a position to fly first class, or whatever it is that you want, if you can get that experience and download those visuals into your mind and play it in your head day after day after day after day, watch it turbocharge that imagination and keep your enthusiasm firing. So when it comes down to mental health, having hope is key, because when we lose hope, that's when everything starts to go down the drain. So having a big imagination that leads to enthusiasm will lead to action, and that action will lead to progress, and that progress will continue to give us the hope that we're looking for, right? And I hope that this video was able to help you out in some way, shape, or form. If it did, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, love you all. Take care.